How to master storytelling in copywriting. So if I told you that storytelling can make your copy or copywriting 22 times more memorable than using facts alone, would you believe me? Well, the truth is, whether you believe it or not, storytelling is king. And that's exactly why in today's video, I'm going to give you 6 storytelling tips to help you drill your copy into your reader's brain like fireworks lighting up a night sky. Like, okay? So, but before we dive into the video, if you're a copywriter or business owner and you are new to this channel, you're warmly welcome from me. And here is exactly what you'll get when you press the subscribe button below. Number one is free proven marketing frameworks that scale multi-million dollar brands, which you can use to scale your own brand or your clients' businesses. Number two is tested and proven strategies to help you write world-class copy fast, even if you're just starting out. Number three are unique email marketing and copywriting strategies that I've used to scale my clients' coaching businesses, plus so much more hot sauce. So make sure you press the subscribe button below so you won't miss any of the upcoming hot, sexy, valuable videos, content just made for you. Don't fuck up, man. Or else. Now, let's dive into the video. So, storytelling tip number one is use dialogue or show, don't tell. Most copywriters or business owners will start their stories like, I was walking in a cafe to meet a friend, and we sat down and started having a conversation, and blah blah blah, and blah blah blah. When in reality, something more dynamic is to make the scene come to life by actually telling them what happened. For example, you walk in and you say, Hey John, great to see you, my friend. Or, Hey Joe, my man, you look fantastic. How did you lose all this weight? You see that dialogue, that back and forth? It starts a conversation, and that rabbit hole actually sucks the reader in very much. For instance, in fictional novels, they use this very heavily because it draws people into their stories. And you could do the same thing for your copy and actually bring people into the scene instead of telling them what happened in the scene. So, show, don't tell. Story tip number two, juice up your verbs. Use juicy verbs. So, for example, there's this one guy called John Carton. He is the king of power words. In fact, he writes his copy for the first time, then he goes back for the second time to make tweaks just to the verbs themselves. Now, let me give you some examples. You could start with in your copy. He went home, but a better verb would be he jetted home. See how that works? Or she hit the golf ball versus she smashed the golf ball. Or I ate some pizza versus I globed down some pizza. All of these types of juicy verbs make the sentences significantly more powerful and visual, but they invite a massive storytelling piece into your copy. So these small tweaks, they make your writing explode. They make your writing seem more juicy. You get that? So, down to story tip number three, be specific. Always, specificity is also king. So, instead of saying he ate some dinner, say he ate a steaming hot plate of homemade rice. Or here's another example. Instead of I got into my car and drove to the bank, you could say I got into my 69 red Camaro and drove to the bank. See the difference? It's long, but it's more visual, and that specificity makes your copy come to life, and your story feels more captivating. And yes, I know some of you are like, make it simple, make it like remove the wordy words and remove all the jargons and some stuff. But here's the thing, it's going to stick in your reader's brain if they can't it's not going to stick in your reader's brain if they can't visualize it. So specificity brings more visualization and makes your copy sticky. Yeah, you can reduce the fancy words and all the jargon, but just make sure you're very specific, because specificity, again, it brings more visualization and makes your copy very punchy, very compelling. Okay, which brings us to storytelling tip number four, add stakes. Now, you might ask yourself what stakes are. So, stakes is when there is something on the line, whether for the person in the story. So, or even the perspective that could be reading the story. So, for example, in the Hunger Games, okay, Katniss, if you know the Hunger Games, I mean, Katniss needs to win the Hunger Games. Otherwise, her district and her family is going to stay poor and under operation forever. So the stakes are really high whether she wins or she loses, which keeps you addicted to the story. You want to know more. You want to know if she will lose or she will win. Okay, now you can make your prospect be the one that has to stake if you don't invest, if they don't invest in your product. Okay, so this is the thing that could happen to you, not in a fear mongering way, but in a realistic proposed storytelling way, if you get what I mean. You know, moving on to storytelling tip number 5. But here's the thing: if you want me to go more in depth of between any of these storytelling tips, if you want me to create a video and go more in depth in one of them, you can just comment below and I will get back to you and I will create a video on it. So storytelling tip number 5 is add conflict. So conflict is always important because conflict increases the tension of your writing and sucks people in to feel that tension. If there is no conflict and everything is el duda, happy, go, lucky, or something like that, it becomes boring. And so when you're telling stories, tell the story that has the most tension, whether it's a story about yourself or maybe you have tension or conflict with someone else or something else, or whether it's a story about somebody else and they have a tension or conflict with someone or something else. Okay, it works both ways. So, and this happens because a great copy creates conflict that the reader has to resolve for themselves, whether it is buying a product or not buying a product. The conflict needs to be resolved. Okay, so it creates that tension that um your reader wants to know more. Okay, so lastly, this is storytelling tip number 6 is open loops. So you have to use open loops. Now open loops are the start of a story that you do not resolve immediately. That's why it's called open loops. You're opening up a storyline that then the reader has to follow throughout your copy to see how it ends. So here's a quick example that I've personally used. It's just a single line. So it goes like this: before I tell you how to double your income, let me share a quick story with you. Blah blah blah. Okay. Now an open loop here is I'm going to tell you about how to double your income. But first, now this is the second. This is the point where I pivot. But first, let me share a quick story with you. Now I have started with this one thing that you are going to hang on, because if you really care on how to double your income, you're going to keep reading until I finally reveal that to you, right? So that's an open loop. That's how it works. But a good rule of thumb here is don't have more than two loops at a time, because if you have more than two loops, you're going to create this friction that your reader is going to be confused on what to concentrate on. So you're opening one loop, you're opening another loop, you're opening another loop. So your reader is a little bit confused. So you have to stick to one or two loops at maximum. Why? Because it's too much for a reader to juggle and understand, especially in a short sales letter or an email. And if you're doing an email, I will say one loop at best. So use one loop on an email at best, because it's more converting and it's more compelling and it catches more of your reader's attention if you use one loop. More than two loops or three loops on an email, because people's attention spans are like, yeah, like that. So it's just gone. That's it for today. So that's it for today's video. These 6 storytelling tips will teach you how to really master the art of storytelling and copywriting itself. If you get this down, if you have get this down this far, I guarantee your readers will be addicted and you will be able to sell more of your copy. If you get to this far, you're a G, man. You're a complete straight G. And um before you go, if you find any value from this video, I ask you to please like the video and subscribe to the channel. And why should you do that? Because it tells me that you want me to continue making great videos like this just for you, which I do drop weekly videos every Saturday, though sometimes I just post any day of the week for you to enjoy. So if you're a copywriter or business owner and you like this video, just drop a subscribe button. Let me know what's your thoughts on the comment. If you want me to go on any of the storytelling tips more in depth, just tell me on the comment and we'll figure it out. We'll solve the problem. Okay, that's a wear up for today's video. Hope this video has served you well, and I will catch you on the next one. Again, don't fuck up. Don't fuck up. Just subscribe to the video because there are more videos to come for you. Peace.